Virgo, hello. Welcome back. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot. This is your January 2020 reading. January 2020. Can you imagine already? We're going to ask some questions this month. 3 questions. So we're going to ask what gifts January has for you. And then we'll ask, what can you leave behind in 2019? What's, served its purpose and doesn't need to carry forward. And then we're going to ask just what's ahead, generally. So beginning in January, moving into 2020, beyond perhaps, we'll be looking at, what lies ahead for us, Virgo. And I do want to say, this is a general reading. If it doesn't resonate, don't force the fit. If it does resonate, I want to say, as I always like to when I'm dealing with any sort of prediction type readings, that nothing is written in stone, okay? So if you resonate with this reading and you see a path moving in a certain direction, you do have free will. You have the ability to make choices to move it in a different direction, okay? So don't feel like anything is fated. We have the right to make choices in our lives. So let's see what we have here. For you, Virgo, for January, you feel like you're sort of, you've been having to do it all on your own. And that isn't always pleasant, but it has given you a really strong ability to defend your space, to take care of what is yours, and to stand on your own 2 feet solidly. It looks like there may be a connection coming for you, some sort of connection with a partner. Could be a romantic thing, doesn't have to be with the lovers. I do want to point that out. It doesn't have to be a new romance. It doesn't have to be, literally a lover coming into your life. It could be some other type of partnership, but there is a union here. There is a joining of 2 into a more robust and more solid together state than alone. And I think that you, having learned how to be on your own, you're very strong. And so you come into this with an equally strong partner, and it's fair, and it's, it's a good bond. There is a completion here. There's a sense that something has been an ongoing cycle for you, and now it's coming to a positive, fulfilling end. You have a real sense of joy and fulfillment here. You'll see there's representation of all the different suits in this one card, and I like that energy for you. It feels really satisfying that you have been hoping for a connection and a supportive other in your life, and now that person is making themselves known. There is a lot of self-compassion here, which is wonderful. That's such a gift. It's not always easy for us to really appreciate ourselves, even for Virgos, to know that you are worthy. You are whole and complete in and of yourself. And if you connect with another, it's not because you're missing anything. It's because there is a joy in sharing and bonding with another, but not because you are in any way lacking. That's a nice space to be in. It looks like January is bringing you some really good feelings here. If you're not interested in having a relationship at this time of any sort, friendship, romance, other, it could be, that you want to focus on integrating the parts of yourself, your masculine and feminine qualities, kind of balancing them in a different way, finding a different perspective on how to take care of you best. That is also quite a nice and nurturing and fulfilling kind of energy to be surrounding yourself in. And some people don't want a relationship with another person. Sometimes people really prefer to be alone. and that's just as legitimate. What are you leaving behind in 2019? It feels like things came at you really fast in 2019. It feels like there was a lot of activity. There was a lot you had to deal with. There's a lot going on all the time, and you didn't really have a lot of opportunity to stop and take a breath. It looks like you did get some public praise. People were telling you that you're doing a good job. They were acknowledging you to other people, telling other folks, recommending you perhaps to others because of the good work you do. And you're not leaving that behind necessarily, but it's not as much of a focus for you moving forward. 5 of Swords, this is a sense that you have, that others need to lose for you to win. And if you've had that sense at all, that there's a limit to the resources and that you need to beat out other people in order to get your hands on what you need, you're moving away from that feeling now. Sorry, I have a cat in here and I think she's chewing on plastic. Give me just a minute. She is. No, stop. My apologies, Virgo. The cats have been chasing me around all day and they insisted on coming in here. And now they're trapped because I locked the door so I could record. And so they're chewing on plastic and such. I may have to get up to let them out, but for now, we'll press on. So if you've ever had this feeling in 2019 that there wasn't enough to go around, that there weren't enough resources for everyone, that feeling is not as relevant for you anymore. You don't really feel that way anymore. You feel maybe, I don't know, more settled. It's a feeling of just being more settled, more calm, more accepting, perhaps, less fazed by the things around you, the things that are coming at you. Things start to slow down maybe a little bit and give you the space you need in order to rest. And it's great when people praise our work, but you may be in a good space now where you feel like, no, just let me do what I do. I don't need to be recommended to take on more. I'm quite happy doing the work that I have in front of me. I don't really need that promotion. It's wonderful when people like my work, but really what matters most is that I feel like I'm doing a good job, and I feel that way. So I'm good, thanks. What is coming? So, 10 of Swords is a scary looking card, but it's really not anything to be alarmed about. The 10 of Swords is really a shift in your person, moving very many times, moving to a more positive space, a better understanding, a better perspective on your life and the things that matter. But change can be scary for our brains. We get used to patterns and habits, and we like things to be predictable. And so when things are not so predictable, we can kind of freak out and feel like we're dying. If you've ever had an issue with anxiety, you know how that feels, that overwhelmed feeling like I'm just, my reality is breaking down. And it's because of this sense of overwhelm. And that can happen sometimes when change happens, even when it's good change. But there is an end here. There's an end to an old way of being that is ultimately good for you, but it may be a little difficult to deal with at first because it seems so foreign. It may set you into a space where you just want to spend a bit of time on your own, seeking a better understanding of you, a better understanding of what you want, because you now realize that you have a right to decide what your life will be. You have a right to choose what is best for you. And the Magician energy tells me that once you've done your thinking, once you've had your think, you will make it happen. You have really strong manifestation abilities in 2020 and beyond to shift your life into something in ways that you want it to shift, to make it a better fit for your preferred reality. And I think that that is fueled by the experiences you've had that have made you strong and resilient. And perhaps it's also fueled by your connection, your ability to let someone in, or your ability to integrate the parts of yourself that, up until now you haven't really found a way to align. Let's take a look at some clarifying cards. Oh, I guess it's got an opinion, strong one. Clarifying cards on your gifts. There's a clarity here that you're in control. There's a really strong understanding, an absolute truth that you know in your soul that this is your life and you're making your choices now. You're in charge. You are the authority. Want to look at what you're leaving behind and see if we have any clarifying cards for that. What we're leaving behind in 2019. This concern, this fear of a lack of resources. I think those all want to come out. Just a second here. So, you're leaving behind a sense that your joy depends on others, that it's just not time yet for you to be successful, that the most important thing in this world is financial security, and this sense that if you don't feel this great upsurge of creative passion, that nothing is worth doing. If any of that relates to you, these are beliefs that you're not controlled by anymore, is what I'm seeing. You realize that you have a right to be joyful and fulfilled in your life without being a millionaire, without being in a marriage, without having some great moment of inspiration. It's wonderful when those come along, but how often does it happen? It doesn't always happen that often. And you can still have a very fulfilled life without that. What about what's coming? What's ahead? Do we have any further guidance on that front? So here we have the Magician again, but in the reverse. I think that's just a bit of a warning that you really need to do some work in the field of manifestation. If you are afraid of your power, if you're afraid of your ability to make your life what you want it to be, then that will slow you down a little bit. The Knight of Wands has come out, I feel like, in almost every single reading I've done. It's that creative energy coming toward you. It's that message. The message that you need to take up that wand. You need to take up that creative spark and run with it if you want to succeed. And here it's in the reverse. So I think it's just reiterating what we set up here. You can succeed without feeling deeply inspired. Sure, feeling deeply inspired fuels us and helps us to move forward. Sorry, the cats are fighting now. But it's not essential to your success to have that. Oh, one just fell. And here, healing, hope and faith coming your way. There is hope, there is faith, there is healing in your future. It comes as a result of spending this time in quiet reflection, really doing some journaling, some meditating, seeking out the wisdom of others in audiobooks or written books or lectures. Just really getting in touch with what matters to you and realizing your value and what would make you happy in a life, and then making it happen. That healing comes from getting clear on what matters most to you with regard to what makes a happy life, not letting that be defined by other people's definitions, other people's ideas of what is a fulfilling, happy life. And that's really healing for you. It reinvigorates your hope for your future, which is beautiful. I'm going to pull one of these dragon oracle cards for you now. Haven't worked with these in ages, but I was drawn to pull them off the shelf today. See what your dragon is. You have the golden crested dragon. It brings you higher love so that you embody the Christ light. Absorbs the Christ light. Absorb the Christ light. You are protected. Expand your heart and remain fifth dimensional. So, for some of you, if you're not of the Christian faith, that may be a bit off-putting to, have that reference. Take it as a divine light, if that's the case. But if you are a Christian, it's a calling to you to get in touch with that inner love, that love which is divine, that love that Christ may have embodied, be the best embodiment of, example of that love, that light inside that is love. For you really to absorb that and know that you're protected by it, it really lets you open yourself to this vision of what your future could be and believe it and have that hope and faith so that you can manifest it. Going to pull one of the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck for you to finish off your reading for January, Virgo. Ooh, I love this card. You have the Phoenix, and that is the element of spirit. And let me read to you from the book. It is fantastic. And it goes along so well with the rest of your reading. I love it. Love it when that happens. Freedom from suffering and past life, past karma, and reincarnation. The Phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication. The essence of the Phoenix is with us when we realize we have been suffering too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. At that very moment, the spark of the Phoenix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Phoenix lifts our spirits up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely. It's a sign. The fire of transformation is upon your wings. Beautiful. So it really is about you pushing away others' definitions of what is right for you, really getting in touch with who you are and what you want to be, and being reborn in that love of self, that self-compassion. Beautiful. It looks like a really great January and a fantastic 2020 for you. And I think, Virgo, I'll leave it there. Thank you for your support of the channel, all the likes, shares, and subscribes. Keep that feedback coming. I always love to know if these resonate for you. And we'll see you next time. Blessings.